is the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jack wagons. It's National Title Night. Tis indeed the Fade 5 Podcast presented by Suavecito Tequila. And somebody's going to be sipping on a love juice in celebration tonight because we got the TCU Horny Frogs, those Horny Toads, taking on the University of Georgia and the Bulldogs. Hopefully going to pack some bite if you are backing them for the kitten caboodle, for all the marbles. Right now, Lundy, various sports books, and citing really BetMGM primarily, TCU is catching 13 in this game. We've seen the total jump up as well in this contest. Right now, up to a whopping 63.5 after it opened at 61.5. 71% of the bets on those Horny Toads, but only 42% of the handle right now on Georgia, which is actually somewhat sizable. Then you look at the over, and that is prevailing right now. And the spread ticket, or the ticket bet, I should count 71% there, 68% of the handle on the over. So let me do an SGP, knowing the particulars there, and get your gut reaction on it and see if you're willing to throw some cold hard cash behind it. I'm going to take TCU up to 17.5 on the alt line, and then I'm going to take an alt total, and I'm going to take it down from the 63.5 to 58.5. So again, TCU plus 17.5, and the total over 58.5. Oh, yeah, work those shoulders. Little baby seduced by the juice at plus 105 at BetMGM. An early fade or follow, my man. What do you think?
I like that, Brad. I've seen a couple of ways to do it. I built one somewhat similar to yours. Took TCU plus 18.5, but I actually did the opposite, where I teased the total up and then took the under.
Down, yeah.
So it's really, I would tell folks that I think if you're trying to do a really simple SGP, especially if you're like me and you're in a state like Colorado where you can't do the player props, so your options for an SGP in this national title game are really limited. You can only do it on team totals. You can only do it on things like that, first half line, first quarter lines, all that kind of crap. You aren't able to work in things like Max Duggan props, or like you're missing out on all of those. And look, I'm not here to get political. I wish the states didn't do that, but so be it. I mean, it is what it is. And there's some states that you can do it, just like you're in Illinois, Brad, and you're limited on what you can do on state schools, right?
Yeah, I am. I can wager on the University of Illinois or any states or any schools within the confines of the borders here at a on-property location, but online, not allowed. Yeah. I have to go over to Indiana to take care of business there.
It's like they need your face on that facial recognition software above the brick and mortar. So anyway, some of us are in a position where our options for SGPs here are really limited. So the one that I just pointed out to you, if you took TCU to 18.5, you took the total to 71.5, and then took the under, actually has the exact same payday. It's a plus 105, exactly like what yours is. So it's really more of a preference or what your gut feel is in terms of the total. I'm with you, Brad. I think it's going to fall somewhere within that window. I think you could take it down and take the over. You could bump it up and take the under. Either way, I think that's the way to be able to play this SGP in this championship game tonight, is to just, it's essentially a teaser. Those of you that have played teasers before, that's basically what Brad and I are doing. So pick your poison, whether you think it's high scoring or low scoring, but buy yourself a buffer. That'd be my suggestion for the title game tonight.
And the beauty of all this, both of us could win on those OGP/SGP offerings. And with that on the books, let's get after it with this national title edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, numero cinco, and again, Lundy can't bet on this in the friendly confines here of the Centennial State, but I can in the ILL, and I'm going to take Emari Demercado on the first touchdown for the TCU Horned Frogs, and in the game, and if that does occur, plus 800 right now at FanDuel Sportsbook. Demercado just scoring an anytime touchdown right now is, depending on what book you're looking at, either minus 170 or minus 180. So I'm trying to get seduced by that juice at the plus 800 odds. Kendra Miller said he's going to warm up and see if he can give it a go in this game. Less than 100%, to say the least, for him. And Demercado was awesome in the last matchup against Michigan, going 17 carries, 150 yards, and a touchdown. This TCU offense is built on running the football. They average over 204 rush yards per game on the season. So the offensive line, they've been mountain movers on the entire year. I know Georgia is one of the elites in terms of rush defense. They're allowing below 90 yards per game. But Demercado, last week, 6.71. That's absurd. 6.71 yards after contact per attempt. He is a battering ram. He is a snow plow. And, if he draws that ball to the belly, I think he's going to make contact. He's going to pack a wallop, and he's going to bring the whooping, and hopefully right out of the gate. And Demercado scores the first touchdown of the game at plus 800 at FanDuel. Easy fade here, Lundy. But did I make a convincing enough argument for maybe a follow?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you're right. This is an easy one to fade because there's so many different options of what could wind up happening in this game. But if you decide you're going to make a bet like this on the championship game tonight, one, don't go crazy with don't make it a 5-unit play, right? Like don't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you've got the Mega Millions numbers locked down for tomorrow night, in which case do whatever the hell you want because, it's what's the jackpot?
Reimbursement. You're going to be fine.
$1.1 billion. You're going to be just fine. You can go out. You can go out and buy yourself a team. But if you are going to try to do some of these plays tonight, you want to have a little bit of fun, you might as well do something that's got a decent payday. And so you're right. This is an easy fade for me. But one, you made a convincing argument for me. 2 plus 800, that's pretty sexy.
Ooh, get seduced by that juice indeed. Bring it home, Demercado.
Number 4.
All right, this is one that Lundy can wager on there in Colorado, and I threw some cold hard cash behind it as well. TCU plus 7.5 on the first half only line, minus 110 at BetMGM. This opened yesterday at plus 7, and it was at even money. It was at plus 100 when it did surface. Now there's half a point. Little bonus added on to it. I still think it's extraordinary value because I think TCU is going to be competitive in this game. They have greatly exceeded expectations. They were expected to be really the dregs of the keg in the Big 12 this season. Nobody would have banked on them making the college football playoff or banking on them even beating Michigan. And they have defied the odds. They have silenced the critics. And they are here now in the biggest game of their lives. And I think they're going to show up because essentially they're playing with house money as a very, very heavy underdog in this contest. And I think they'll come out and they're going to be highly competitive. I look at Georgia. They're averaging 21 flat points per game in the first half this season. But TCU, not far off that pace, averaging 18.4 points per contest. So generally speaking, they are hot out of the gate. I think they're going to have to establish themselves, establish the run. And I know it sounds cliche, but again, that's the MO at TCU. Max Duggan has been fantastic as a passer and as a runner in that duality. And Georgia may come out a little bit tight. Again, if TCU, it feels like, hey, we do have this, we're playing with house money, personality and point of view. I think they could come out and maybe really punch Georgia in the face early on and keep this below the 7.5. And I think Captain Hook, is going to come into play here. Would not be at all remotely shocking if Georgia is up by 7 by the intermission, which means that's a win for TCU. So Lundy, fade or follow, Horned Frogs plus 7.5 on the first half line, minus 110 at BetMGM.
Ooh, man, this is a tough one. I'll be honest with you, but I do think TCU is going to keep this competitive. So I'll roll with you on this one on the first half line. First quarter line, by the way, is 3.5. For those of you wondering, if you haven't, if you're just rolling out of bed, you haven't had enough coffee like I haven't, and you've decided that you're going to, listen to us before you actually log into the book, you're going to see the first quarter lines at 3.5. first half line at 7.5. I do think the Horned Frogs keep this close. I'm hoping for a really entertaining game. I don't have if you'll pardon the pun with Georgia, I don't have a dog in this fight, man. I don't really care. TCU is just a ton of fun because they're not supposed to be here. And to your point about house money, I think they can come out and play relaxed. Hopefully that is the case, because if they do, they're going to make this into a really, really entertaining game. So this one I will follow on you, because I think TCU keeps this thing close early. Then we see what happens when you come out of the break. Who makes the right adjustments? What happens in the third quarter? And obviously, most importantly, the fourth.
Oh, me so horny for the Toads.
Number 3.
All right, this one I love. This is a game prop available right now at BetMGM, and it is juicy, it is spicy, and it is downright delectable and buyable, in my opinion. Both teams to score 30 or more points in this game. Remember, the total is in the low 60s. And I think if you believe that TCU was going to cover, and they are going to be highly competitive in this contest, then I think this is entirely doable. So both of the teams reached the 30-point mark, plus 235 at BetMGM. You look at Georgia. They have scored 30 or more points in a contest 11 times this season. TCU, mirror image. They've also scored 30 or more points in a contest 11 times this year. TCU averaging 471.4 total yards per game of offense and 41.1 points per game on the season. Georgia, number 7 in college football in total offense with 494.6 yards per game, and they're also averaging 39.4 points per game. Now, Georgia, we know the defense is terrific, and the lights have gone out on me, as they always do when I'm on location here at the United Center in Chicago. So I will continue to talk as I try to figure this out. Yes, we are back. I can tell you that Georgia's defense is a rather unrelenting, number 5 in scoring defense in college football. But the back-to-back games against LSU, they gave up 30, and against Ohio State, of course, in that classic semifinal game, they gave up 41 points. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, a lot of fireworks, a lot of booms, not a whole lot of busts on the board. And as a result, both teams to score 30-plus points, plus 235 at BetMGM. Is that worth shining a light on? And thankfully mine have turned back on. Lundy, fade or follow?
Well, we need to see more of that light reflecting off of your dome. Is really what we need. I wish I had this option of both teams to score 25.
You could do 20.
You can
but
do
it's
20, but
juiced
the juice sucks. Yeah, I saw that this morning. The juice sucks on that. So you don't like that one. I really would like to be able to split the middle, but nobody has that at this point as an option. So again, similar to your first touchdown one, the juice makes it attractive enough to sprinkle something on. It's not a big bet, more than likely. It's not, like I said, not 2 units, not a unit and a half. It's probably something simple, but the juice that's available from BetMGM on this one is awfully enticing. So that's a weak follow, similar to this guy right here. It's a weak follow, but I will with this one just because of the 235 payout.
Oh, come on, Lundy. Do some extra reps in the gym and go with a strong follow.
Number 2.
All right, let's go with Mad Max, and is he going to take us beyond the Thunderdome? I say yes, he does, and I'm going to take the over on 1.5 passing touchdowns. Best juice in the business right now at DraftKings at minus 105, and honestly, I grabbed this when it opened at plus 105 yesterday. But again, this is correlate, synergize, bring it all together, going with the high-scoring affair theme, which I believe this game is going to play out as. I think Duggan's going to be able to find the end zone a couple of times with that golden arm. He has hit 2 or more passing touchdowns in a game 10 times this season. Quarterback 15 in all of college football to just completion percentage. A decent ADOT, average depth of target of 9.1. So he can make those deep throws. He has the arm strength there. I love his pocket awareness. I can duck it down. He can hit guys accurately on quick slants, shallow crosses. And look at Georgia. If there is a weakness defensively, it's certainly not in the trenches, but it's definitely in the secondary. They were number 66 this season and pass defense, giving up 224.6 yards per game. So Max Duggan over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 105 at DraftKings. Lundy, fair to follow.
Follow. This one, you want me to nut up and follow? There you go, my man. I like this one a lot. Again, I can't do it here in Colorado, so that part sucks. And I'm not really in the mood to try to drive somewhere or whatever. I mean, I would like to fly. I would like to fly somewhere sunny, Brad, involving a beach, which, in full disclosure, I get to do in 9 days. But I would like to be leaving right now because I'm really kind of over the snow and the cold here in Denver. So maybe I could fly somewhere where I could actually make this bet. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen before the 7:30 Eastern time kickoff tonight. So alas, I'm just going to have to kick back and admire others that can make player props in college football.
Oh, yes, you're very envious and jealous of me, but just go to Mexico, Lundy, and Mas Tequila.
Number 1.
All right, another wager Lundy can't make, so sorry, buddy. But
it's really kind of a theme to this podcast today, which is let's rub Lundy's nose in it like a puppy that crapped on the carpet and show him all of the cool stuff he can't do. Tell you what, in 9 days, when I am on a beach in Mexico, dude, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to be sending you pictures of my glass of tequila with the sand off in the distance with the sunshine and the 80-something degrees. That'll be my return for all this tease BS you're doing to me right now. This is rude.
I think you're going to send me other pictures, more salacious ones, which I always welcome at all times. I'd also welcome this wager on Brock Bowers, and I'm taking the over 62.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. Very talented tight end for UGA. And a guy that went 4 for 64, so just creeped over this against the Ohio State in the last game on the season. Hit the over on 62.5 receiving yards 5 times, averaging 14.1 yards per catch. Now, TCU, we know they are susceptible defensively. They have a ton of speed pretty much everywhere. They collapse on the football rapidly, but they finished number 92 in passing defense at 243.2 yards per game, allow the number 80 and total defense. And look at Bowers in his last couple of postseason games, so including the SEC title, 11 targets and 10 receptions. So he's got those sure hands, and Stetson Bennett really delivers the ball crisply and accurately to him. That's why he's got a 74.7 catch percentage on this season. So knowing, again, I think it's going to be a high-scoring battle, and knowing, too, that Bowers is a favorite of Bennett to Bowers is going to happen often in this game, so much so that I'm going to hit a cash and a number 1 fade 5 selection on this over 62.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. Lundy, I know you could just fade or follow me, but really can't play this, but maybe I will kind of lay somebody on it for you.
Oh, I see what's happening now. Now I see what's happening. Now it's turned into like this. This is such a bunch of BS. You with these, and it was so great too, because here I was as I was getting ready for the pod this morning going, son of a bitch, he is going to throw out, he's just going to show off. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's you've got the nice arm candy at the club in Vegas, and you're just walking around to be seen. That's exactly what you're doing to me right now. You're just throwing out all these props. You're like, hey, Lundy, F off. Check this out. Look what I got. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No wonder the lights keep going out on you.
Yeah, that's fairly accurate. So let's actually get some wagers Lundy may tell me on in Colorado in bonus time. I will serve you up first. You have the floor, my good man. We also have some college basketball action. We also have the NHL. We have the NBA. Is there anything out there that you find enticing and also could still be in this game?
Is anybody out there? It's really, I'm going to throw one up. By the way, I can't make this bet. I can't make this damn bet, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway, because I'm sure that it's available. You're going to have to tell me what the juice is on it, Brad, because I don't know. Do you have your player props there in your dark corner of the United Center?
Yes, I'm pulling it up right now. What do you need?
Brad, tell me what it is for Stetson Bennett to throw a pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That
Tell me what.
I have not seen. Oh, yes, I do see it. Stetson Bennett interception, minus 110 juice right now on that
Okay.
over.
That's a player prop that I would take. TCU averages over a pick a game over the course of the season. I think they might be able to bait him into something. I know that's kind of taking a little bit of a chance because you talked about, trying to keep maybe sometimes we're going to see the ball on the ground as in the rushing attack. But I'll
Yeah.
take that with Stetson Bennett. It's just because I think this TCU defense will be opportunistic. It doesn't necessarily mean that they can turn it into something. It might just be, one of the ways that they bring a drive to an end. But I will take Bennett to throw a pick. Like I said, I can't make that here in Colorado because of the rules, but I do want to throw that out there just as an option. He threw a pick against Ohio State. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick in that one. He's only got 7 on the season, but this is less about Bennett for me and more about TCU's defense. So I want to throw that out there. Let me give a bet that Brad and I were actually talking about before we hit record on today's pod. I have not seen this posted anywhere, but I just want to throw out to you. If there was a combo or something you could do in a same game parlay, I love the idea of TCU scoring first and then losing. You know how some like to score first but lose the game?
Yeah.
That's relatively common. We see that actually a lot in hockey. That's a bet you can make in hockey. If we can find that prop somewhere for tonight, I would totally be down with that. So the shortened version of that is TCU to score first in this game is plus 140 universally across the board. It is plus money, heavy plus money, in my opinion. Plus 140 is a lot higher than I thought it would be. I expected maybe even money, maybe plus 110. It's up to plus 140 for them to score first in the game, not the second half of what I was talking about with that potential OGP. But I do frankly like TCU to be able to score first because I don't know. I've just got to, it's a TYG, trust your gut. It's a TYG special for me. And then if you are somebody that thinks you could actually get in and start thinking about what the margin of victory would be within this game, you know that a lot of the books do the bands.
Yes. Yep.
Brad, could you see Georgia winning this by a touchdown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Entirely.
But could you see TCU covering the BetMGM as of tape time? BetMGM is at 12.5. By the way, FanDuel's at 13.5, folks. Like TCU, take the extra point over at FanDuel right now. But the band that I grabbed, Georgia to win it by between 7 and 12.
Love it.
Plus 390.
Oh, that's spicy. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I really I like that one quite a bit. And then the last one that I will throw out there for you, and sorry, hang on a second. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to remember if it was at BetMGM. I had it in my notes and now I can't see it. Anyway, I saw a bet, Brad, that you could do. Oh, here it is. Yes, at BetMGM. Those of you that have the BetMGM, this is hanging out just under their overall bets that are an option. But at minus 120, folks, you can get minus 120 for Georgia to win and both teams to score 20 points. You got it right there on your sheet, don't you?
I do. I have it right there on my sheet. That was the bonus time offering I was going to put out there. To me, this is the free square on the card.
I think it is. So minus 120. Brad was going to throw it out there. I stole his thunder, which is a first because normally he steals mine. And then there are 4 games in the NHL tonight, but I don't have a good, strong feeling on any of them. So I'm passing on the ice tonight. I did okay yesterday. I'm not going to tempt fate and screw myself over on a Monday night. I'm just going to enjoy the national championship game. So I am done with my bonus time. My man, take it away.
Yeah, look, to give you a little bit of background again on that, University of Georgia on the money line and 20-plus points scored for each team. Each team has done this in every game but one on that 20-point threshold. Georgia 16-6, slobber knocker fest against Kentucky earlier this year, and then TCU won against Texas 17-10 in a game that was ultra tight from start to finish. But I feel it's going to be high scoring. So a 20-point threshold and Georgia to win, since they're a heavy favorite in this game at minus 120. Take MGM's money. That is the best bet on the board, bar none. Should have been number one But I got, sucked in by the player props that I always do here on the Fade 5. There is some college basketball, believe it or not. Very light schedule, but there are a couple of games I do like. One, I will take Army plus 8.5 at home against Colgate. I know Colgate has been electric offensively. They are number one in college basketball in three-point percentage offense. They're netting well north of 40% from downtown on the season. In fact, in their last three games, all Patriot League matchups, they're shooting 52.7% from three. And this is a team that jacks a ton of threes. So they have been white hot, to say the least. They're shooting 60% inside the arc as Colgate, but defensively on the season, number 341 out of 363 in effective field goal percentage defense. Army can score. They have played well in the Patriot League. That's why they are undefeated. And they also are top 23 on the year nationally in effective field goal percentage offense, which means maybe the over hits as well. But I think Army gets the cover at plus 8.5 at home against Colgate. However, Colgate has covered in 5 of their last 6 away from their friendly confines. Still, I like Army there. The other game I like, New Mexico and Oral Roberts. I grabbed ORU plus 5.5 in a game that is going to be a track meet. Zip, 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 up and down. Both these teams, fast playing squads. ORU number 33 in college basketball and adjusted tempo. New Mexico even faster with that pedal to the metal at number 20. And both are susceptible defensively. ORU number 198 and adjusted defensive efficiency. New Mexico number 95 in that category. Both shooting at least 36% for three. Both shooting over 72% at the charity stripe. ORU, all they do with Max A. Smith are jacking threes. Nearly 42% of their shots come from distance, and New Mexico just really doesn't defend the arc. So I think ORU plus a 5.5 on the road in Albuquerque is going to keep this one tight and nice and snug. So I think they get the cover there. And if you want to alt either one of these games at DraftKings, you have that option. And I already grabbed this and got it at plus money. I took Army up to plus 12.5, and I took ORU up to plus 8.5, and it's plus 117. And on top of that, Lundy, I took the totals down. I took the total down to 155.5. It's at 161 on the actual line in that Oral Roberts New Mexico game. So 155.5 there. And Colgate Army, I took down to 146 and took the over on both of those. And that's plus 113 if you do that. So those are my top plays on a very light college basketball selection buffet offerings today. And I'll throw one more out there for S's and G's. Robert Morris, I'll lay the chalk minus 16.5. They're playing ooey pooey. You got to fade ooey pooey. They're dead last in like 5 or 6 categories on either side of the rock in the entirety of college basketball. They're number 362 out of 363 right now. And Bart Torvik, total efficiency. They are dreadfully bad. And Robert Morris has played really well so far in conference action. So I will take Robert Morris and I will lay the 16.5 there. We're out of time here on the Fade 5 podcast. Do us a favor, drop us a rating or review if you enjoy this program at your convenience. Also, fade or follow us. Follow Lundy at Nate Lundy on Twitter. All of his spreadsheet picks are there for free. So are mine at Noisy Huevos. Enjoy whatever team hoists the hardware tonight. Hopefully make some money on the national title game. Until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.